Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside. Today is a little bit of a change. It's actually going to be all wine and beer inside. I am in Mountain, Ontario, and joining me is Claude and Paul, also known as Smokie, of Smokie Ridge Vineyard and Brewery. Guys, thank you very, very much for hosting us today. Really appreciate anybody who's willing to take time out of their schedule to speak about their local business and their local beverages. So thank you very much for hosting us.
No problem.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. I got some tasty looking wines here, and I got a couple of tasty looking beers. I'm going to start with a wine. What am I going to start with here?
The first one on that one there. The first one on the left is Yole Faithful.
Okay.
We made that for my grandpa. Our wines are not a lot of sugar.
Okay.
So we were always having a little bit of an issue of making a sweet wine. So unfortunately he passed away before he could taste it. But that is Grandpa Yole's Yole Faithful wine. It's our sweet wine.
Okay.
Yeah. Off dry.
This is my first time tasting wine. I know TV and movies, they squish it around and spit it out. You don't really do that, right?
Well, yeah, we do, but
Okay.
I have trouble spitting it out.
To me, it just seems like a waste.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Beautiful nose.
Yeah. And the reason why it's called Yole Faithful is because Dick, which is my wife's father, Claude's grandfather, used to come out here every day and cut the lawn until he was 80 years old.
That's
and
wild.
he again, that's why we call it Yole Faithful. And we have a beer named after him called Dick's Machine.
Amazing. All right, gentlemen, toast.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh, that's delightful.
That won a double gold last year
Wow.
in a competition.
Super clean, not
Yeah.
like boozy in any way. It's,
Yeah.
Wow. This could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Like in a good way. Amazing. Thank you. Paul, as we spoke on the phone before we did this interview, you're former Canadian military, and somehow now you're in a vineyard. How did that happen?
Well, I spent 32 years in the military. We did 2 tours in Europe,
Okay.
8 years. Matter of fact, Claude was born in Europe and that. And we always kind of wanted to have, vines and make beer in the garage when we retired and stuff like that. And so we were looking for a place so Debbie could have her horses and we could do all of this. And we found this place, 43 acres and that. And so I talked to both my sons, Claude and Morris. Morris is our youngest son. He's in the military right now, preparing to go to Goose Bay in a posting.
Yeah.
And we said, listen, this is ideal for a vineyard and maybe even a microbrewery. And your mom and I will be the bankers. You guys are going to put some work into this. And then when we die, it's yours. And so everybody agreed. And so I said, when we start, though, we can't back out.
All hindsight.
Yeah, that's right. And so we started planting in 2007, 2008, and 2009. We have 10,000 vines, our upper field, our lower field. And in 2010, we started building the building that is in behind here, the winery and the house. My parents lived in Quebec at the time. And so I was going to make him a granny suite. It ended up being a big house, which is now our offices, our tied house, the wine cellar, and that. So we can do events downstairs, upstairs, and of course it's the winery as well.
Yeah. I mean, you got quite the amount of land. I
Yeah.
see a stage set up, beautiful
Yeah.
patio.
Yeah.
As Claude, you were saying earlier, it's piecemealing it together, but it's coming along. And as
Every year we make few improvements every year. We have pizza ovens, we have smokers, we have barbecues.
Spit.
Oh, the spit, yeah. We have the spit too.
For that.
So it's
We do events here as well
Yeah.
now, weddings, private events, fundraisers, as well as music events. Last weekend we had the comedy open mic, which was kind of like our opening and that. And so it it's coming along. The pandemic certainly slowed everything down, and so this is kind of like the year that we're coming out, and that.
That's awesome. Love hearing that, and you didn't let the pandemic stop you in any way.
No,
so
no.
That's the important part. And
Well, the fun part about this, especially in the summertime, like you can see all the picnic tables are all more than 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Right? So you could sit there, bring them their drinks, their wine, and they can, just sit in the sun and just enjoy something, but still follow all the regulations and the rules that we needed to follow.
Yeah.
Our kind of joke was during the pandemic, we don't have 6 feet difference, we have 60 feet difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I'm guessing you guys are going to set up like cornhole tournaments and all that stuff in the future for sure, especially with how popular cornhole is now. People drinking your newer beers, your wines. And
Well, the beers, the cornhole crowd would probably be more on the beers, but we had an extreme bocce ball tournament.
Extreme bocce?
Well, because it's, you're far, so you had like 20 teams all in there. Of course, we didn't have the beer at the time, but we have a bocce ball tournament, so we had a Marconi house or Marconi Villa came all down in buses, and we had a whole bunch of, we were all playing bocce out there. It was quite the afternoon.
When I was hearing extreme, I was expecting like tackling and stuff. Just chuck the ball and then you get hit on the
No,
side.
they were a little, they weren't young enough for that.
Yeah, amazing.
But we have a bouncy castle as well, and when we do major events, we bring in those things as well.
Yeah.
And of course, our stage is set up for music. We got the lights on it and everything like that. Mm-hmm. So it's coming along.
Little kid setup too for people
Yes.
to bring the kids. So.
Yes, a matter of fact, that was my grandchildren and Claude's side. It used to be theirs.
Okay.
They kind of grew out of it, so it ended up here.
It's great. It's you're clearly a very close family, so it's amazing that, as you mentioned, Paul, this is going to be his and his brother's one day. So
Well, we talk about family. If it wasn't for our family, we wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. My nephew Philip's an executive chef. So he plays a part on helping us doing this. His wife is Pam. She does all the website stuff for us. Carly's got a business degree and does website. Nat Morris, he's an AVN technician. So anything that has to do with motors and fixing stuff, he does that. Claude's a master glazer downtown, so the structures, buildings, glass, and everything. He's also the field manager and that. Jeff, we kind of call him our third son because he's been with us since the very beginning. And he latched onto the brewery and he's making beer. He loves it and that. And we got Megan. She's an educator, a teacher for special children and that. She comes and helps all the time, and she makes earrings with corks and stuff like that. And we call her the Sergeant Major because she controls the bar area and stuff like that. Ghislain is ex-military, comes out and helps us with their AJ, and of course their wives and their girlfriends. My niece Danielle. She does all the branding and that, so the labeling and stuff like that. And her husband, John, he's got a degree in theoretical physics and stuff like that. So when we have to read something that has to do with, a piece of equipment, it'll take me 4 hours, take him like 10 minutes, and he explains it to him. And that, and I hope I'm not missing anybody.
Oh, we're gonna miss someone
for sure. But
there's so many. There's so many
that came and helped us, build. And my sister and her husband, my brother-in-law John, and Kathy. Kathy's a retired nurse. John's retired and John replaced Uncle Dick, and he comes out and cuts the lawn and stuff like that. So everybody and John's other daughter, Allie and Justin, they'll come out. She's a nurse. They come out and help whenever they can and that. So there's all kinds of people that come out now. Oh, Steve Ricard. I got to mention Steve because Steve, during the pandemic, lost his job. Ugh. And so we hired him. And I told him, I said, listen, when my money runs out, you're out of a job. We didn't run out. Yeah, and our basement has a table with 18 people, You can sit 18 people. All the walls are in stone now. He did all those walls and everything like this, and helped in the vineyard. And Valerie, she when she was at university, she used to come and work in the vineyard and stuff like that. So, I mean, all those people. I mean, if they hadn't come out to help and you know, they're all part of the family as far as we're concerned. At the end of the day, we'll crank up the barbecue, and you know, we have a family barbecue and dinner and stuff like that.
Extended family.
Well,
that's what's important.
It's not uncommon to have 20 plus people at the table.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
No,
I mean,
no.
That's really nice to hear. We, as a group, had a small get together last night, and it's like, oh, it's fun to just do this every kind of quarter.
Yes.
Just get together, have a few drinks, play some games, and you know, we're all in our mid-40s as a group, so it's like, yeah, let's just have some fun and enjoy some drinks, some local beverages, because that's me specifically. So you mentioned the brew house started. You brought me out a couple of beers here. This is the Jalapeño.
Yes.
Okay.
So we support the Hot Sauce Festival, and Heiko and Angela that own Heiko's Hot Sauce. A matter of fact, on the bottles, if you look at the face, he really looks like that.
Okay.
And so he used to have a pepper field, and the gentleman that had the field passed away during COVID. So now he plants his peppers up in our upper field, 3,000 to 4,000 peppers a year. And we've had the Hot Sauce Festival here for the last 2 years. And last year there was 800 people, the year before 1,000 people, 25 vendors of all kinds of different hot sauces and stuff. And then they have the jalapeno, or not jalapeno, the pepper eating for the belt. Oh my God, I can't believe it.
They're
Anyways,
crazy guys.
No.
so Heiko made a hot sauce for us with two of our wines, our Red Soldier's Pride, which is this one here. Mm-hmm. It's called Smoke and Burn, and it's made with jalapeno and our red wine. And the other one is Heat and Honey, which is made with our White Soldier's Pride and honey from our bees, because we have bees here as well. We have 3 hives, and we have our own honey as well, and that. So the two wines that have poppies on it, those poppies grow here on our property, and we give back 15% of the sales of those 2 wines to the families of the fallen.
Okay.
I have 5 UN tours and 32 years in the military. Some of those guys that didn't come home were my friends. It's our way of giving back in that. We also partnered with Upper Canada Creamery here, and they make a wine-infused cheese for us with those 2 wines and that. Heiko also, when he found out I gave 15% back, he also gives 15% back of the sales of those 2 sauces to the families of the fallen, or the Soldier On program and that.
Well, I mean, thank you for your service, clearly helping keep Canada safe and free as we are. So that's the important part of any soldier who served. I know one of my grandfathers did. He thankfully came back, but it is sad when you hear that people lose family members overseas because of this stuff. It's a very unfortunate thing, but it is part of the world we live in. That's one of the sad realities.
Yeah.
But thankfully, because of you, what you've done, and clearly your interest in wine, I get to try your great products today, and hearing that you give back to the fallen soldiers is super important to us.
We'd like to upgrade, and one of our next projects, if we can find the time, is
our many projects.
Yes, we want to use our bees and to use the grounds and everything like this for PTSD, but not just for soldiers, but for all first responders. Mm-hmm. So soldiers, RCMP, first responders, and everything. A lot of the first responders that aren't military, or example RCMP, really don't have a place to go. Yeah. And so we have a bunch of contacts of people that have PTSD experience and stuff like that. I do have some experience helping with that I got in the military. But yeah, we'd like to be able to use this for. We have a guy that does wood turning. They tie fly fishing flies and stuff like that. I mean, you can walk around with your service dog. You can go and prune vines if you want. You can do whatever we can paint out here. Yeah. We have an ex-military. She's an artist. She gives lessons and stuff like that. So we've got a lot of people to help. we just have trouble connecting with the upper echelon to be able to tell them that we have a place for free.
Yeah.
For free
Yeah.
to help PTSD people, and that's
A lot of it too is to put it into perspective is those guys and girls that see a lot of death when you spend all day making something grow.
Yeah.
Is quite the change for them, and it's and I hate picking grapes, but some of these guys they sit there and and it's hard, back-breaking, like it's really hard to do, and they love it. And I sit there and I was like, you guys are nuts.
Yeah.
This is hard work, and thank you very much for coming and help. And they go, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And they're just helping something grow, which is quite.
Sounds like it kind of puts them in like a Zen mood.
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
The bees is even the hum of the bees calms them, and it really is something in that. Tony that comes and helps us has a service dog, and he's become like a bee master sort of thing and helps us out with that. But you should see him, like he'll go to a hive without a suit on. And I go, you're crazy. You're crazy. And I stand right back, but it's a zen for them. It just calms them and that. And so
Every now and then you'll see Dad. You'll see some guy walk in and he doesn't say hi to, but Dad, hey, and then they just they go off. They go off on the golf cart, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, hey, we got a lot of work to do here, and he's just off talking to this guy.
yeah.
And I'm like, damn it. All right. So we sit there and they sit out there for a couple of, an hour or two and they just talk. And then the guy leaves and you just look at him and you go, oh, he just needed to come and talk.
Yeah.
So Dad was out there, he's been there, bought the t-shirt, a couple times over. And every time you see that, you just say, okay, all right.
Yeah, some people just need to let it out.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And the fact that you have that experience and you're helping people is so important.
Yeah, I got 5 UN tours and 2 NATO tours and 32 years in and special service at the Airborne Regiment and that. So I've seen my fair share and that, and so and everybody has a breaking point and so forth and so on. But you know what? They just need a place to talk to somebody and. It's kind of hard. I mean, I know the psychiatrists and everything like that, they try and tell you what's wrong with you, but you got to let the guy tell you what's wrong with him. And just let him talk. I don't tell him what I've done. It's not about me. It's about, them and how we can help them. So that's one of the things we'd really, really like to do. But we have to win the lottery.
Yeah. The old 649's got to come through for us.
Or Lotto Max or whatever it is.
Yeah, one of the two.
One of the two.
Just give us the numbers.
Or Veterans Affairs, but I mean, they give lots of money out for horses and stuff like that. So maybe we, if we connected with the right person, we might be able to get.
Yeah, that or maybe a Powerball winner from the States when it's like $1 billion. You still end up with $500 million.
Yeah.
U.S. to Canadian, that's almost $1 billion Canadian again. So.
There you go.
Amazing. So Smokie is a nickname.
Yes.
Where does that originate?
Well, in fact, Smokie comes from my father.
Okay.
So my father was nicknamed Smokie. He was preparing to go to the Korean War. So they did their training up here, and then they went down to Fort Lewis to be able to finish their training and then take an American ship over to Korea with his battalion, which was the Royal 22nd Regiment, the same regiment as me. And so my father was only 19, and so he wasn't allowed to drink. So he made a deal with the bartender to be able to sell him cigarettes, but in fact give him beer. And so the bartender said, "Yeah, sure, no problem, I'll do that." Anyways, the colonel, my father was a platoon commander, so the colonel and the 2 IC of the battalion called him into the office and said, "You'd have to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes every 10 minutes for the amount of cigarettes that you've purchased." So my dad said, okay. He explained the situation. They kicked him out of the office and told him, just give him beer.
Yeah,
I mean, he might not come home, sort of thing. And that. Anyways, we go forward to 1974, and I'm on my depot training in Valcartier. And my father was on Hill 355 in Korea. And that was one of the hot spots and stuff like that. Anyways, on your depot training, the 5th week in, you've been confined to barracks. Now, this is 1974. There's none of these rights for everybody and stuff like that, you know, and that. And so you have the commandant's inspection and the 2 IC. And so these 2 old guys, really, like, to me, they were old guys and stuff like that. They start their inspection. We got metal beds, 4 to room, flipping the beds up, throwing stuff out, yelling at you, yeah, you're pigs and stuff like that. And you know, that was just part of the training at the time. So they got to our room, and we're about in the middle of the course. And I'm in the far corner. And so they come in, and they're just about to start flipping beds. And I had a picture of my dad on Hill 355 with the company commander and the other 2 platoon commanders. And one of them looked at the picture and he said, "Where'd you get that picture?" And I said, "That's my dad." And they said, "What's your name?" I said, "Soldat LeBlanc." He said, "You're Smokie's boy?" And I went, "Oh, to my brain." I figure I'm getting thrown out the window and they're going to stamp on my body and I'm in, and I sort of said, "Dad, I hope you didn't annoy these guys." And they're like that. So, they all of a sudden, they weren't with us anymore. They were back in Korea talking about patrols and stuff. These 2 guys were in my dad's platoon. And so they were oblivious. They were gone. The RSM standing at the door and finally says, "Gentlemen, we have to carry on." And so, whoa, pas de problème. So off they went. They never touched anything in our room. And they never touched anything in any other room on the way out. And they just told the platoon commander, "Carry on." We got out that night because normally you get confined to barracks for another 2 weeks for the next inspection, and we got out that night. So then everybody's going, "Smokie, Smokie, Smokie." So I got the nickname Smokie. My dad spelled it with a Y, and I spell it I-E, S-M-O-K-I-E. So that's where the nickname Smokie comes from. And in the military, if you talk to people and they say, "Do you know Chief Warrant Officer Paul LeBlanc?" They go, "No, not really." "Well, Smokie." "Oh, yeah, I know Smokie," and that, so.
It's almost like Top Gun, everybody has their handle type of thing.
Yeah.
Or online now, everybody has a handle, nobody actually,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like I am at Michael Carpenter's, I'm Carp. So that's pretty much it. So, and yeah, you're talking about nicknames sticking, same thing in my family. My uncle's Carp, I'm Carp. It's probably going to be a pass down to my nephew. It's just the way it is when it comes to nicknames like that and the recognition people will give you to that. So that's amazing. And from the sound of it, I would have never made it in the military. So that's me personally, though. So I got another wine here to try. What am I doing here?
That one there is a Soldier's Pride White.
Okay.
Again, all of our grapes. So this is more of a drier wine. Mm-hmm. Again, like we were saying, the 15% of all the sales go to the fallen soldiers.
Okay. Another beautiful nose. Yeah, your wines are, like, I don't know, maybe because I'm used to the mass-produced stuff. So I think you're pretty much my first craft wine place, and it's like wine can actually be good.
Well, we don't use a lot of preservatives. Wow. We don't use any fining agents. So our wine is actually vegan. You know, a lot of the fining agents that you use or preservatives that you use are based with eggs and shellfish, which a lot of vegans don't know. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's to clear all the wine. We take 7 to 8 months and use gravity to clear the wines. We rack it, we put it into a different container every 2 or 3 months. So there's no preservatives. Our wines won't last 20 years in your basement. Mm-hmm. They'll last maybe 6 or 7, but there's no preservatives in it.
Yeah,
right?
very little potassium metabisulfites.
That's it. Just enough to keep it so it doesn't, turn sour in the bottle.
No bacteria.
Right. Yeah. Plus, you mentioned the low sugars, and sugar count is what a lot of people consider in their alcohol now. And I know when it comes to the brewing, it's called like zero Plato, which is refining as much sugar out of the beer as you can to get that. And
that's it.
The way people are counting calories and what they're consuming now, that you guys are pretty much sugar-free.
Well, because of the short growing season, especially for the wines, the short growing season, our wines don't have a lot of sugar. Mm-hmm. So to create the alcohol in the wine is the yeast eats the sugar, turns it into alcohol.
Yeah.
So most of our wines are very low in the sugar content, except the Yo Faithful. Yeah. But
it's amazing what this little bacteria can do when it eats sugar. It just farts out delicious alcohol.
yes, yes.
Amazing. I noticed on your website you talk a lot about craftsmanship and innovation. Is that's part of your culture, right?
Yes, yes. So, like Claude was saying, it takes us 6 to 8 months to make wine, because we do it by gravity. We rack the wines. We don't use any preservatives or anything like that. So we put a lot of craft in it. Any of the wines that we don't like, that we don't think is that it has something to it, we won't sell. We then dump it into a container, and we bring that down to the distillery, and we distill our own wines from our own grapes to give us the alcohol, and that's what we use to make our fortified wines. So a fortified wine is like a port, and that we can't call it port because port is trademarked, but it's a fortified wine. So we have a red fortified wine, a rosé fortified wine, and a white fortified wine, and so. We also, we have a license to carry the alcohol for blending purposes only, and so that's usually what we do with that. And for our beers, it took us a while.
We're still there.
Yeah,
we're still working at it.
Yeah. The IPA is an East Coast IPA and I think I threw away about 7 batches before we even got to. Now, they're only single batches because we're testing the machine, testing the system out, But it just wasn't right. This batch here is this is it. This is the way. That's why it's called This Is the Way, and that.
I figured it was because you guys watch Mandalorian way too much.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
that's probably too. Yeah.
All of our names have, it ties into something.
Yeah.
Like your next wine that you're going to take.
Let's go for
the
that.
The red one is we call it Entre deux Montagnes.
Okay.
So in French, it's between two mountains, and we're in mountain, technically in mountain, but we're in between mountain and South Mountain. So between the two mountains.
Yeah.
Right, so that's where one of our first wines was Entre deux Montagnes, so between the two mountains.
Awesome.
We also have a wine. It's not here. It's called Raisin Nathan.
Okay.
So Nathan is Claude's son, our first grandson, and so we have a picture of him reaching up into the vineyard with the grapes and me beside him. It's called Raisin Nathan.
Now, little play on words, raisin, French for grape,
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Toast. So tasty. I gotta say, I'm glad you guys are my first wine experience because I'm truly enjoying these.
Now, these are hybrid grapes, too. These are not vinifera. These are hybrids that can grow in the seasons here and take temperatures of minus 35 degrees. Minus 35 to minus 40. Some of them can take up to minus 40 degrees in that. So our weakest wine, our weakest vine is our Marquette, and it takes minus 28.
Okay.
So we don't have to bury them or anything like that. So they just go to sleep, and then we trim them, and then they come back.
They're like the maple trees of grapes.
Okay.
All the water goes into the roots, so that the sticks and all the plant above ground can freeze and not split with the water.
Okay.
So it's like a maple, and then when you cut them in the spring, it'll leak just like a maple tree will.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Whereas a vine in France won't. All the water stays in the canes and the sticks.
Okay, so I'm very, very new to wine. What's kind of your process versus the process that you see on TV, where it's people stomping on the grapes and then they just dump in yeast and it's created?
Well, it's basically that. Yes. So we'll pick the grapes.
Yeah.
It's like Claude's the field manager and stuff like that. Well, he does everything, not just the field managing. But we'll pick the grapes and we'll bring them here. Then we'll put them in what is called a crusher destemmer, which plucks the grapes from the stems. And it's then put in the vats. And we will then add 50 parts per million of potassium metabisulfite to kill the natural yeast. And then 24 hours later, we'll put the yeast that we want for the style of wine that we want to make. The red wine will leave the skins in contact with the grape, which the skin is what gives the color to your grape, the color to the wine, and that. For the white wine, we'll do the same thing, but we'll press it right away just to get the juice. And then we do the fermentation process, which takes 7 to 10, maybe 15 days, and that, depending on the yeast, the heat, the yield, and that. And then after that, we seal it in there. And this is where we could use a fining agent. We do our malolactic fermentation, it takes 2 weeks. Then we could use a fining agent, and then we could then filter it, blend it, and bottle it. So by December, we could be done. However, we don't do that.
Yeah.
We, in fact, use a process that's called sous le lit. So the wine rests on the bed, and in December, we'll rack off the big stuff in the bottom. And over the next 10 months, 8 to 10 months, we'll rack the wine, check the wine, rack the wine, and it'll clarify itself. And then during that time, all the particles that are suspended give more structure, more flavor to your wines. So I believe, or we believe, that you have a better flavor, better quality of wine.
But also the reds too. Like you'll always, another thing that we've learned, like Dad was mentioning, the skin is what gives it the color, its flavor, and all that stuff. But in the skins, a lot of people that say, I can't drink red wine. They're allergic to sulfites. Yeah. But there's just as much sulfites in white as in red. But because the red wine keeps the skin during the fermentation process, and we keep it even longer, there's histamine in the skins. And the white wine, we separate the juice and the skins right away. Okay. So there's hardly any histamines in white wine, but a whole pile in red. So that's where people will say, oh, I can only drink this kind of wine. It's mostly because there's the histamines in the red and the white. Now, some people do have, sensitivities to sulfites, but because we don't use a lot of sulfites, we only use maybe 25 parts per million, as opposed to the 300-400 parts per million everywhere else. Okay. Right. So another thing that's interesting that we do, not so much in the process, but when we do picking or the vendange, we have a lot of people on our website that sign up for it. So we have in the tent, we'll have coffee, donuts, and breakfast for people, and they come in and I give them a little tutorial on how to pick. And then we go up, rain or shine. Some years it's really bad because it rains a lot, but some years it'd be just like today, and it's beautiful.
Perfect temperature to do work in.
So and it's in September, and we go up and we pick it all by hand. So it's all by buckets, and then they can grab the buckets. We come down, it goes through the crusher, through the destemmer, through the press, through all that stuff, so they can see A to Z all they don't see is the actual fermentation, but that's just time, right? So they see the whole process of how we do it. And we give them lunch. We'll have the smoker and the barbecue going and stuff like that.
And wine and beer.
Oh, yeah, of course. wine and beer, yeah, of course. And what's fun about that is that the next year, when they come and buy it, they say, hey, I've picked this. Yeah. Right? So they've helped pick it.
And it holds personal kind of gratification
for
to
sure.
it. Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so and the whole, I've sort of made a game. So I go up there and I grab everyone's buckets and I put them in the trailer and I transfer them to bigger buckets. But my role is to make sure that your bucket's not full. So when you move in spots, it's not hard on you, right? So I'll do all the heavy lifting. So the game is whoever yells bucket first, that means your bucket is full, past the brim. Whoever yells bucket first gets a free bottle of wine. right? So everybody's like, "Arr." So we tried. And usually I can make it till after lunch. Until I run out of steam, I run out of gas, I can make it till after lunch. One year, my boy, Nathan, he comes up and he's smiling. And I'm like, why is he laughing and smiling so much? And I said, oh, I didn't put anything on it. Anyways, he went up there, and his mother and his sister went in one spot, and he went way off to the side. And I couldn't see him. And of course, I lost at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Book it. I'm like, no, someone beat me already. And it was Nathan way in the other corner. And he was laughing, and oh, jeez. Yeah, so my bosses come and help, and when on the picking days, and of course they yell bucket all the time, and so it's a fun way to involve everyone, you know, which is different from a lot of commercial wineries. You can come out and be really part of the process.
Yeah. A lot of them won't let you in the vineyard.
Yeah. Well, there's disease and stuff like that.
Yeah,
We have all the clippers and all the scissors, the gloves and all that stuff.
You can't bring any of your own stuff here.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
The other thing too is we do in fact give everybody a bottle of wine when they
Oh,
leave.
at the end, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. At the end too, we can't just use it for
With a
free.
special
You
label.
get lunch and you get a free bottle of wine.
With a special label that's marked "Thanks for picking us."
Awesome. Love it. Little inside joke too. It's great.
Yeah.
I noticed on the website too, you do deliveries. How huge was that during the pandemic?
Our website is being redone.
Okay.
So we did do some deliveries, not as much as what we would have liked to do, but we did deliveries within a 60 to 70 kilometer region and there was roadside pickup. Some people did, and that not as much as what we had hoped. I'm sure if we had had our beer in cans, and at that time we would have done much better. Yeah. But our website again is being redone with our online store and stuff like that. So, and
It sounds like you want more simpatico when it comes to the website.
yeah, well, that's right. When we first started, my nephew Philip, the chef, he's a bit of a computer geek as well. So he built us a quick website and a store and stuff like that. But now we have to kind of graduate to the next level.
So there's a lot of laws,
Rules and laws.
taxes, and stuff that we have to figure out. And, you know, and when you
We've been
start
hearing a lot about beer laws and stuff this weekend. So it's
So when you start delivering and bringing stuff to people, you know, they can call, and if they're underage or this, there's a whole slew of things that you got to really take into account. And so,
They've changed some of the laws because of the pandemic, which helped us in that. Yeah. But you know, like Claude says, it is what it is. Now, both me and Debbie and everybody, like Claude said at the beginning, we all have day jobs. So, I mean, my wife and I both work for the government. I'm retired from the military. We both still work for the government because we got to pay for this.
Yeah, for sure.
well, we'd much rather you come down and have a seat on the patio and have a beer with us than you know, just sending some DoorDash guy to bring it to you.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. No, that's the most important part. And with thankfully the pandemic more or less tapered off, as people are returning to places like this, and that is huge.
Yeah.
And then as well, I noticed you do tours and tastings.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have down in the basement the wine cellar. We have in the library, we have a table it can hold 6. It's surrounded by oak barrels and stone walls. And then in the tasting area, there's a conference table that holds 18 people. And so we do tastings there. It's, again, stone walls and stuff like that. And we have the Wi-Fi, we have the computer, the big screen and stuff like that. So you can do business meetings and have it catered. There's
You'll only do business for the first maybe hour until you start. Then you just have fun.
Yeah, until you start enjoying your libations, for sure. Awesome. And
but it's great for team building.
Yeah.
You can bring your whole staff out here. You can do team building in the vines and stuff like that.
I also noticed yoga in the vineyard as
Yes.
well.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we have yoga in the vineyard. So Avery she did during the pandemic, yoga in the wine cellar. We could only have 10 people there. For Valentine's Day, she does a couples yoga.
Okay.
And then they either go up into the vineyard, they can come here around the little lake in the back, and they do They do yoga and stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah, yoga sounds super fun. I would try it, but I'm not exactly flexible. So
Well, you gotta bring bug spray because the bugs here, they get on their knees to bite you in the forehead.
They,
They're humongous.
yeah, I'm assuming a lot of black flies around here.
God.
So
Yeah.
I
But
Where
we,
you deet?
and they
Where
love
you
me.
deet?
They love me. It's probably because I consume lots of delicious alcohol that they're like, oh, this guy's full of sugar. Let's get him. So.
But we do hang up a lot of the citrus plants in that, which
Citronella.
which really helps. And there's a spray that I found at the Canadian Tire where you can spray on the grass. And I'd have to say that this is the first year, because there was a lot of water, standing water this year. It's the first year that we've really had a lot more mosquitoes and that. But with what we do is pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're right in the middle of the woods.
You have anywhere between 30 and 50 people that come out for yoga. So.
It's the same. Hey, everything. Canada, we're pretty much, unless you're in a big city, you're surrounded by nature. So it's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. I got one last wine here to try.
And that's our Soldier's Pride Red.
Okay.
Again, all our grapes. This is just the twin of the Soldier's Pride White. It's a little different blend. So the Entre, Montagnes was more of a wine with cheese, and this one here is
More robust.
yeah, more, steak and,
The noses are just like beautiful. So
Well, thank you.
yeah, I'm definitely after this we'll be going more local vineyards from this on in. I'm not a big wine drinker, but this is going to help push that into my consuming of local craft beverages. So.
We've started, 10, 15 years now? Dad started an association that there is 16
vineyards.
16 vineyards within 100 kilometers of Ottawa.
Okay.
And there's, on our website, we have the map. There is from Orleans to south to the 417, the 401, sorry. Yep. So within 100 kilometers, there's six in our Eastern Ontario
Wine producers.
Right. And in the Thousand Islands, there's even more, right? The difference is that our grapes are the hybrid grapes that can survive the winter. In Niagara and stuff like that, they're the vinifera from Europe, and ours are just stronger to survive the winter. So that's why there's only the 16. But, geez, how many?
There's 12 of them that are open right now, and then have stores in that.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is make this the next wine region.
Okay.
So in fact, if you go to Niagara, then you've got Prince Edward County, and then from Prince Edward County to La Route des Vins du Québec in the south of Montreal, and there's nothing. So from Prince Edward County to the border, okay, is the region that we want to develop as the next wine region here in Ontario, but with the hybrid grapes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's what we're working on right now.
And so in the vein of that, somebody comes with a designated driver because you always want to enjoy responsibly. You never want to have a drunk driver on the road, hands down. I come with a couple of friends. I'm not driving. I'm going to have a designated driver. What are some friends in the area, other vineyards to definitely check out?
Oh, I will give you the map.
Yeah.
12 minutes from here is Richard, and that's Green Gables.
Okay.
And me and him work together. Down on the 401 is Stone Crop. There is Jubilani that is in Richmond. And then on the east side, there is Domaine Perrault, Domaine Duclos, Stone House, and Scott, which is...
the mead guy?
No, not the mead guy. Scott is Van Cleek Hill.
Oh, Van Cleek Hill.
Van Cleek Hill in that. So you can just see Van Cleek Hill in that area. There's wineries there. Oh, and on the west side, there's Kin Vineyard. He's the only one that has vinifera grapes that he has to bury every year and unbury every year. And we have a couple of people in our association that do fruit wines and cideries, and that. And there's another association that we're part of that we work together, which is the craft wineries.
Okay.
Right now in Ontario, because we have the cold hardy hybrids, VQA, which is now under a new name, don't recognize the cold hardy hybrids. So because we're not VQA wines, we pay a 58% levy when we sell to restaurants or outside of our stores here and that, which is right now we're in negotiations to try and change those rules and that. And it's just a policy. It's not even a law or anything like that. It's a policy that was created by the VQA 30-some years ago to protect the Ontario wine industry. Well, right now, there's 15 different vineyards, and there's more than just the 15, because outside of our region, there's another 10 or 15 that have these grapes and that.
Well, I think the Niagara region alone, isn't there something like almost 30 vineyards?
Yes, but they're all vinifera,
Yeah.
and they pay a big price to be part of the VQA, and those are big vineyards.
Yeah.
Like, when you're selling 60, 70,000 cases a year, and we're only, maybe 2,000 bottles or something like that, but the rules are just unfair.
Yeah. Well, I see it too because, you're retired military. You're not like the Gretzky estates where Wayne Gretzky was a multimillionaire in hockey.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's like, it's chump change.
Yeah.
For you, this is very serious. You can't mess around. Like, this is your life. This is your future that you're betting on. And you bet great. I mean, from everything I taste, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, if we had one of those multimillionaires, we could sue the Ontario government and they change the rules real quick.
Yeah, you just need that.
Yeah.
For sure. And then after all the vineyard, you added the brewery. It's very small right now, but where do you see the future of that going?
Well, we would like to see it grow, definitely. This is basically our first full year. Last year, we at the end of the season, we finally got the recipes that we wanted. That Jeff, that Jeff would say, no, okay, we'll do it again.
Well, we wanted it to be when you come to the patio, you can have a wine or you can have a beer, right? So everything is made by us. And the future right now is we have some in cans, but it's very time consuming to put them in the cans. We can't give everybody a kegerator and, no one can put a keg in their fridge. Well, some people could, but, you probably could.
Not yet, but we hang out with a home brewer who has quite the kegerator system.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things where our growth right now is to get to a point where we can make our beer. And again, our beer doesn't last. There's no preservatives, there's no this. We can't keep it for a year and sell it next year.
It's 3 months usually.
Exactly. So we have to make it, can it, sell it, which is a little difficult because you make a batch, you got a lot of cans. Yeah. It'll take you 2 or 3 days just to can it. So it's that's where our growth is going to be. It'll be able to produce quickly the cans that'll be ready for people that come over and they try it. They come and they enjoy a nice afternoon and say, hey, I'd like to bring 6 or 7 of those home. Oh, well, we can't, So that's where we're going to try and do.
I must say, though, yesterday, last weekend when we had the open mic, a guy was here who was drinking beer and everything like that. Yesterday, he came back and he bought 2 cases of beer.
Yeah.
2 flats.
2 flats.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I went, he said, no, I'll take a 24 of that and 12 of this and 12 of this. And I said, oh, all right.
No problem.
Yeah.
Let me grab the square machine.
Well, that's it. Great customers like that. But then now we're out. We got to make some more.
Yeah. We do have a plan to extend like the garage and to upgrade our system to maybe a 3-barrel system. I then have my fermenters are only 2 barrels and everything like this. But if we extend the garage and everything like this, we'll be able to make get some bright tanks where we can keep the beer in the bright tanks for 2 months, 3 months. And if we had a 3-barrel system, it means if we did a double batch, that would be 600 liters, and we can get bright tanks to stack one on top of the other. So we could technically, and then we can can right from there. Yeah. But again, I don't have a Wayne Gretzky here or something like that.
If he's listening.
If he's listening, fly me to your vineyard to interview you, please. Because driving from Montreal to Niagara is a long drive.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I would love to have it like a big celebrity like that, just to come over and, we won't tell anyone he's here. Just come on, come in the vineyard. We'll have a fire somewhere. Just sit and relax.
Yeah. No, yeah. We're getting a lot more people from Montreal coming down. Yeah. We also are part of Tarago. Tarago is an RV.
Oh, okay.
So they started in Montreal, very small. It was first called Telawal, and they approached us for people that have RVs, and they come here, or they book. They have to book online. They come here. They have to be self-sufficient.
Okay.
They'll arrive here. And then the next morning they leave and continue. Instead of parking in a Walmart parking lot, it's a pit stop.
Yeah.
And that, and it's working really, really well.
Great.
And that there's so far the season just started, and I think we've had 6 people so far. We've got another 3 bookings the next 2 weekends, and that. So and people really like it. They come by, they taste the wines and stuff like that, and they. And again, it's a service, and if you do it right, then people will. And we haven't had a bad review, eh? All our reviews.
Well, knock on wood.
Yeah. All our reviews have been really, really good. So
Fantastic. Love to hear that. And I got this last beer to try. I believe it's the New England.
Oh, that's our IPA.
Okay.
Yes. That's Jeff's IPA.
Yeah.
It's got that IPA nose I love.
Yeah. You guys like it, tastes are not to be discussed, but
yeah.
This is an East Coast IPA, or a New England IPA. So it doesn't have the bitterness, but it has the hoppiness.
Yeah. Yeah. No, super clean. No crazy aftertaste.
That's right.
This is something. What's the percentage on this roughly? 6-ish.
6.3.
Okay, so I can't crush a bunch of them. I can enjoy a couple though, for sure. So
yeah. So it's marked strong beer, so it's above 6%. So it's strong beer, and that. But the IPAs are supposed to be in that area, and that. And I prefer going with the East Coast or the New England ones because you have the hops, but you don't have the bitterness of the hops, and that. That's one of the things that took us a while to get a good handle on, and that. But yeah, I think it's come out really, really nice.
Very tasty. Very, very tasty. Awesome. I've honestly got no other questions. Thank you both very, very much for speaking with us today about Smokie's Vineyard, Smokie Ridge Vineyard and Brewery.
Yes.
For those who are looking to find you guys, where can they find you?
Oh, so you can find us online at www.smokiesgrapes.com. You can call us at 613-989-4523. And you can come here in Mountain, just east of Kempville, at 10090 Cameron Road, Mountain, Ontario, KOE 1S0.
Awesome. For yourself, Claude, anything else? You good?
No, like I said, come on out. We'll have a beer.
Okay. All that's going to be on the website. Definitely check them out. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Click the like and notification bell for all future episodes. As for us, allbeerinside.com is the website. At allbeerinside on all social media. And as I say at the end of all episodes, drink craft, not crap.
Well, that's good.